Hello everyone, welcome back to FTCR's LP of DuckTales Remastered, and today we are joined by everyone's favorite brain-scratching kleptomaniac, Lewis.
Oh, I'm the only kleptomaniac on the crew, so...
Which I have to say is something like DuckTales, where there isn't a set amount of gems you have to get. When you play this, Lewis, do you find yourself going out of your way to try and get as many as you can?
That was actually the problem that put me off playing the game. Not because I don't like collecting things, because I do like collecting things. And the way DuckTales Remastered and, I assume the original... have you collect things kind of annoys me, where you have to pass over space and then go back over it again to pick up whatever it is that just appeared all the time, all the gosh damn time. And you know, when I have a character like Scrooge McDuck who bounces around a lot, I want to keep my forward motion going as much as I can, you know? So the stop and go nature of it kind of doesn't do it for me.
So how much interaction do you have with this game / the franchise as a whole?
Well, the DuckTales games franchise, not specifically. I did play a Donald Duck game back in the day on the Sega Genesis that has some vague connections to this game. It's called Quackshot. Yeah, that's the one where Donald Duck is hunting for treasure and you have a gun that shoots plungers at everything. Clement did a Let's Play of that actually a while back, so that's something.
Yeah. We had Clement in the Amazon part, and he was talking about how much he loved Quackshot.
And then I had to remind him that it's just building off of the mechanics from Darkwing Duck.
Yeah. Well, I never actually played Darkwing Duck.
Oh my god.
It's pretty much, imagine Mega Man with a grappling hook mechanic.
It's Mega Man 6 with hanging. That's it. That's it.
Well, that's all you really need.
I will say one of the as we talked about in previous parts, like the basic level structure is the same. One thing they took out, and I'm very happy for, in the original NES version, when you get to the African mines, as we're going to see in a moment, you get to a kind of lift which is missing its like control stick. For some reason in the original game it automatically transports you back to Transylvania to kind of look around for it there, and it's incredibly stupid padding, which I never understood why it was there, and I'm glad it was removed in this version.
It's kind of the stuff they did in Quackshot a lot. The Quacktails, what am I thinking?
In the original NES, there was like a 1-block wall at the beginning of the level, and you needed to get a key that was back in Transylvania, and it's literally right at the beginning of Transylvania.
Yeah, I mean, it's also weird because, as we see in Transylvania has a bunch of those kind of magic mirrors. The place where it is in a mirror you can't go through. If you like, so it's not like when you play Transylvania, you can find the key for when you get to this level. Like, you can't access that area unless you've been transported to Transylvania through this level.
Yep.
Yeah.
Incredibly odd design choice for that game.
Yeah. But like Quackshot had a lot of go back and forth between different areas to get key items and stuff. It was well, it worked for Quackshot, but I don't see it working too well for this game.
Yeah, it's sort of with this game, they tried to do a kind of Metroid-y dealio on the NES, but they tried to downgrade it, and they downgraded it to the point that any actual backtracking fell out of place. Even though I could probably see them, they could have taken this game and made it a lot bigger and a lot more focused on the exploration, but instead all the levels end up being just straight shots with extremely optional hidden areas.
Yeah.
I love this dialogue where Scrooge McDuck is berating the kids for saying there's no ghost in this mine, even though the previous level was fucking full of ghosts. So like, ghosts are clearly a real thing in the world of DuckTales.
Yeah, but they're only in Europe, not in Africa. Scrooge ain't afraid of no ghost.
Well, they wrote this dialogue assuming that you hadn't been to any of the other levels, since you can do the levels in whatever order you want.
But either way, though, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. It's just Scrooge being a curmudgeon, so.
Which is why we love him.
The magnorious bastard.
So Lewis, I believe you said you haven't. I forget. Have you actually finished the game, or did you just not? It didn't agree with you that well.
I didn't finish it. I played a few levels, and then I just sort of drifted away. There was another game, another of the old Disney games that got itself a 2.5D remake that I liked a bit more, and I played that one to completion. The only thing that bothered me is that some of the bosses were a bit hokey in terms of design, because they added all this 3D stuff to a
Which remake is that?
Castle of Illusion.
Oh yes, yeah, of course.
Yeah. A Castle of Illusion, a remake of like the old 16-bit era game, but they added some full-on 3D sections to it because I suppose 3D, but some of it's a bit clumsy to control, and like the final boss has a 3D control to it, which that was not a fun time. It was kind of a sour note to end the game on.
You want to talk about sour notes? Sega Australia made that game, and before the game was released, Sega were like, "Yeah, as soon as this game's done, we're gonna fire all of you." That's a fucking sour note.
Jesus
Oh man,
Christ.
that's tragic considering the game was actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, I have it. I mean, I haven't finished it just because I haven't had the time to go back and play too much of it. But it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a solid 2D side-scrolling platformer.
We passed it a while ago, but you got that red ring. In the original NES, that was one of the 2 super secret hidden treasures that was required in order to get the best ending. There was that ring in the African mines, and there's another treasure on the moon that you needed in addition to the $10 million minimum requirement. Yeah. In this game, it's just money, because again, there's only one ending, and honestly, it kind of takes away, other than to, roleplay as Scrooge McDuck, it kind of takes away any motivation to get all the money when there's nothing actually tied to it.
You know, I will say it is weird that of all the stuff they added to remaster, to me it is odd that they removed the kind of multiple ending aspect.
Yeah, because there were actually 3 endings in the original. You had the normal ending, which was, beat the game, fine and dandy. Then you had good ending, which included getting the 2 treasures and beating the game with $10 million. And then there was worst ending, where you could beat the game with exactly 0 money, and Scrooge McDuck is bankrupt.
Which is the hardest ending to do.
It is.
You have to go out of your way to purposely fuck up.
Yeah, because you have to purposefully get a certain amount of money, and then you have to use that money to refill your health exactly. Because even if you have just $1 left over, you get the normal ending. You have to have exactly $0 at the end of the game.
Well, the multiple endings back in the day were more of something to get you to play the game over and over again. But at the same time, that's not really a design concern anymore, because even if there are multiple endings, people are going to look it up on the internet anyway, and it's going to lose that you have to spend time figuring it out aspect. But the other thing is, what was I gonna say? The other thing is, a lot of gamers today don't like cryptic shit like that. It's kind of a difference between our generation and the current one.
Well, see, my thing with it is that a lot of the gameplay is tied to those endings. I mean, there's money lying around everywhere. You collect the money. That's tied to the endings. And then to remove the endings but still keep the money and collecting the money, it just sort of leaves the mechanic, but its purpose has been removed. That's where my issue is.
You mean like points in every other game ever?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say it's been removed. The point of the money has been changed, because unlike the original DuckTales Remastered, it has a kind of vault where you can buy like concept art and original animation art and like music and stuff. So it's, even though it's not tied directly to the game, there is still a point to collecting money to unlock everything the game has to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I have to say, like, I know we say it with every track, but Jake Kaufman's remix, so good. The soundtrack is so amazing.
I have a question. Do you need to get killed by every boulder you run into?
Oh yeah, I do actually.
Oh, I thought that was a Cocoa Puff.
Yeah. Talk about cuckoo.
When I was recording this, I was watching a lot of Brain Scratch Mega Man X runs. Johnny just dies a shitload in those. So I thought, why not? Why not?
While we're at it, let's just not edit it out.
This is one of the more straightforward levels in the game.
Now it is,
Like-
yes.
Well, like you haven't backtracked at all this entire time. You've just gone straight
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. The African mine probably has the least amount of the kind of backtracking in the game.
Yeah.
It was pretty much just get the key to fix the lift and then go back to the lift.
Yeah, and the key is like right there. So,
Cause original African Mine, its dealio was just that it was probably more maze-like than the others in that there were a lot of dead ends, and if you just found the correct path, you were fine, and you could just get through the level again in like less than a minute. But that's true for all of the levels.
yeah, but in this version, there isn't really a way to get lost.
No.
Yeah. Like, I remember the Haunted Mansion level tripping me up quite a few times. Like, I spent a lot of time running back and forth in that level.
Again, that's why Transylvania is the best level in the game.
Yep. That one, they were trying to encourage the exploration. It's kind of weird that African Mine that they would, after, forcing you to explore all of Amazon, forcing you to explore all of Transylvania, they took African Mines and are like, let's tone that one down a bit and make that a bit more streamlined. So they definitely, it's not like they took the same formula and applied it to all the levels. They tailor changed each level to make it a bit more, fun, I guess.
Well, it's a fairly well-designed game. I'm not a huge fan of DuckTales Remastered, but I won't say it's bad in any sense, just not necessarily 100% for me.
So Lewis, when you were a kid, did you ever have any attachment to the original cartoon?
I might have watched it on TV a few times. I definitely remember knowing about it, but no, I'm not a huge DuckTales fan. I think I did watch Darkwing Duck more so than DuckTales.
Well, then that could explain, because I'll admit, a lot of my love for the game, both the original, the remaster, the franchise, whatever, a lot of it does stem from the fact that I fucking love the DuckTales cartoon.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Was DuckTales ever on the Sega Genesis, though?
I believe in terms of official games, I think it was just
No, because it's a good game.
I think it was just the NES. They had Game Boy counterparts. I believe there was some iOS game Disney crapped out a few years back and then remastered.
Yeah, it was like I can only remember ever playing one Looney Tune. No, wait, not Looney Tunes. Disney type game. And well, I don't remember liking it very much back then.
Well, it was Looney Tunes, there's your point.
I like Looney Tunes. Shut up.
Tiny Toons is better.
Tiny fucking Tiny Toons. You know, it is weird, because I think I said that in the previous part, before the game came out, they'd say, I believe it was either something on Way Forward or Capcom was like, if this sells well, we have plans for the other games in the series, like Chip and Dale, Darkwing Duck. And you know what's weird? They even said they would look into remastering the SNES Aladdin movie game, which is actually a pretty damn good platformer, which I would have loved to have seen that.
Was that the same game as the one they released on the Genesis, or was it a different one?
No, it was like, it's weird. It was a different because normally movie tie-ins were the same across platforms. For some reason, Aladdin, the SNES version was made by Capcom, and all the other versions were made by Virgin Atlantis. Were made by Virgin because
you know what that might have been? It might have been because around that time, Nintendo had a bit of a stranglehold on third parties. So there were a lot of games that could have been multi-platform but weren't.
Well, here's the thing. On Double Fine, the guys who made Psychonauts, on their YouTube channel, they have a series called Dev Plays, where it's pretty much just Let's Plays, but with the developers as commentators talking about how they made the game and stuff.
Really?
It is an amazing series. It is the greatest thing of all time. So they have one with, it's for the Lion King game, but they had the guy who worked on the Aladdin games, and he actually explains what happened with the Aladdin games and why it's two different games, and he explains the entire
check that out.
He explains the entire relationship between Disney and Virgin Interactive and why they made all of the specific choices with the two Aladdin games. So definitely look up Dev Plays, especially that
yeah.
Lion King episode.
I want to say though, the animation for this boss, maybe my favorite animation in the entire game. His beard, his cape.
Yeah, it's all
The
very
animation is so
free-flowing.
fucking good.
Yeah, it's all very free flowing. Although this boss has a kind of a weird difficulty curve. That barrage of rolling balls there that bounce around and are hard to jump over.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot harder to dodge that than what happens during the second half of the boss fight.
It's weird because like with those things, sometimes I can pogo on them with no problem whatsoever.
It's luck
And
based.
sometimes like that, I just get destroyed.
It's difficult to tell where you can pogo on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily know before you jump which balls are going to bounce upward and which are just going to roll.
And something tells me that that's not just a bunch of individual enemies, and instead it's just essentially one big giant hitbox moving across the screen, and then yeah, it's a very ambiguous attack on where you can jump and not jump on.
Yeah.
So Lewis, what are your thoughts then? Okay, I know you said that you haven't played the original, but what are your thoughts on the soundtrack to this game?
Oh, it's pretty goddamn fun, but I find the hub sound music a little weirdly unfitting. Like, it seems a little too adventurous and reflective for someone as kooky as Scrooge McDuck.
Hey, Scrooge McDuck is a methodical, intellectual man. Duck. Thing.
He's smarter than the smarties and tougher than the toughies.
Yep.
All right then.
No, that's his catchphrase. That was the mentality that brought him his billions and billions.
Either that or he's one persistent son of a bitch.
Both.
Garbage rocks.
This guy, the king, voiced by Frank Welker. This voice, like again, anything Frank Welker voices just turns to liquid audio gold.
To be lapped up.
Did you think so? So say Capcom were going to move forward with their remasters. Do you think they would have gotten to DuckTales 2 at some point, or do you think they might have just been like, nah, let's not do that?
I think they would have, but they probably would have done a bit more changes to it. They probably would have tried to make DuckTales Remastered and DuckTales 2 Remastered. They would have tried to make them very similar to each other.
Yeah.
It's like if they were going to do that, not to be indecent, but Alan Young, 95. Probably not too much time left on this world. If they're gonna do DuckTales 2, get those lines recorded now.
Well,
Yeah.
they could have them, like, in a vault or some shit already. You don't know.
But it's true, very true. It is possible. I just like.
Well, if they were going to do that, they would have had to pay the actors, and if they were going to pay the actors, they're just going to make the game so they can get some return on it. So.
Yep.
Unless the script for this game was twice as long. So unless they just told the actors, yeah, we're gonna make the game really long, and then they just kept all those
I
lines.
think that would be asking for a whole boatload of legal trouble, to be honest.
So I think we're coming to the end of the African Minds. Lewis, if you want to I know you didn't finish the game, but maybe just give a brief surmise of your thoughts and then where people can find you on the interwebs.
Well, my thoughts on this game, I'm a pretty big fan of WayForward. Even if I don't necessarily actively play all their games, I do appreciate the care they put into everything, and DuckTales Remastered is another example of that. Also, I'm curious, since I've never played the original, could you do this?
No,
No.
this was completely added in the in this remaster. Completely pointless, but I fucking love it.
Well, we all want to swim in a pool made of money, don't we? Now, thanks to Scrooge McDuck, we can live that fantasy. As for where to find me, I'm a member of Brain Scratch Commentaries, and I do have my own channel, so there you go.
What is it? What's the channel?
You know, the channel name sounds kind of funky when you just say the URL out loud, but I call myself One True Nobody, and hopefully that will be linked in the video description.
You sound like a member of Anonymous.
Oh, please no.
Please hack my teacher's email.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Please join us next time where we travel to the chilly mountains of the Himalayas. Goodbye.